guys, and welcome to another episode of Mommy Needs a Break. It is a podcast for new moms who don't have it all together, because guess what? We ain't got it all together, and that's okay. I'm one of your hosts, Megan Thomas, at Meg Scoop everywhere.
And I am Marisa Johnson, and she is Marisa J. Make sure to follow Mommy Needs a Break on all platforms at MNED Podcast, and you can check out our website at mnedpodcast.com. And today I'll let Megan jump in with her famous introductions, and then I want to slide up in there before we get started.
You know, we always have great guests on the show, and today is no exception. And I'm talking about this. Today about to be a great show, okay? It's so great we didn't even include any of our regular segments. That's how great this show is about to be. You see this pretty lady with us, okay? She is the internet's favorite healer. She tells it like it is, even if you don't want to hear it. You may know her as Astrobae or the Hood Healer. Y'all give it up for Imani. Thank you for joining us, Imani.
Hey, friends. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if y'all don't know Imani from the internet, then you may need to go learn about her before you watch this, because this is going to be, we're getting deep into it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to, it's not a disclaimer, but it's really like Megan said, if this is your first time with Imani, the Hood Healer, this isn't going to be the show where you get to know her in a sense. So I would do my due diligence and head over, watch some YouTube videos. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you could look her up. But what I do want to say is if you have followed Megan and I both for the past 3 years in our journeys, then you know how we started this show, right? We were struggling. We were struggling. We both had little new babies. We both are entrepreneurs. I'm fairly newly married. Megan's over here. Oh, I won't speak for Megan. I'll speak for myself.
I'm over here shacked up is what she was trying to say. Engaged and shacked up.
And, we came together because we were struggling. The doctor was telling us what was wrong with us. And we were like, okay, we're in the car crying every other day. Let's talk about this. And the more we talked about it, the more we saw that other women were dealing with similar things that we were dealing with. And so this show may not be for everybody, and that's okay. But I think that you should understand that no one is trying to hurt you. No one is trying to minimize your story, your struggle. So I would say if you already have a pre-notion of what you feel or how you think, if you're already angry and upset, maybe you might need to come back because content is elective and you have the choice what you take in and what you don't. So I ask that you take a seat, you take a break, you take a breath, and you come in with an open mind and an open heart, because again, me and Megan have never came on here trying to hurt anybody. Both me and Megan and I have different opinions on things, and I always think that that's okay, but it's always a healthy conversation.
Yeah.
So with that said, I wanted to jump into why I had reached out to Imani, because I've seen different conflicts and things over the years, and I'm always just like, hee hee, ha ha, that's so funny. People are silly. But this time, I think it was last Thursday morning, I'm making my sea moss ginger tea and I'm scrolling on the internet, and I come across this post, and I'm going to read the post. It was, if you have postpartum, what do you think your baby has? I don't necessarily believe in postpartum, especially because mother's energy is transferable and felt by baby. I believe that most mothers are underprepared for parenthood and have difficulty acclimating to the responsibility. Postpartum just sounds better than saying I'm having difficulty acclimating to this responsibility and embracing the divine blessing. And when I read that, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I kept scrolling like it was nothing. Like I kept on with my morning and it was a whole great morning. Then I jumped on the live and I saw people going crazy. And I was like, wait, what's happening? And so as I started,
why they were going crazy? They were going crazy because Imani said postpartum depression ain't real. That's why.
But she didn't say that. No, she didn't say that though.
No, she didn't. So that's how they took it, right?
That's how people. But that's not anyone's responsibility. So what I will say, and then I'll pass it to you of what your first impression was. But it was like the more I started to listen to women speak about their experiences, the more I got clarity and I started unpacking things and thinking back to the moments of my first baby and like what I was feeling, why I was feeling that, like all the different levels from the moment she was born that triggered me from things that happened to me when I was the baby, right? Like in this overprotectiveness and this anxiety, I started unpacking it. And I swear to you, I was like, I need to go have another baby so I could do this thing right. And I was like lifted. I was excited. I text her out of excitement. You know me, Megan. I don't be texting people that I like and can get in contact with, but I was just excited. And then when I started to see people were upset, I was like, oh, I had to come back to my worldly mind. Like, oh, this is another thing. This is another thing like anything else that people get upset about without fully thinking things through. All right, I'll leave it there. But I was really excited because it made me, it released me almost. It released me from what I thought I was like going crazy over, you know, and it happened with my second baby too. So I want to leave that there. I'll let Megan respond because I did tell her and she could tell you what her response was.
This is excitement, Imani. She calls me. She was like, girl. So you know the hood healer, right? She's over here saying that basically postpartum depression is not a real thing, and like we need to stop calling it that and all this stuff. And so I was like, now wait a minute, because as soon as she says this to me, this is without me reading anything, without me just listening to her. That's it, right? I'm like, what? Imani don't know my story. She don't know what I've been through for the past 18 months. Like she doesn't know that postpartum depression isn't real. I started saying everything that everybody else is saying, which is like, how she know? Is she a mom? Like, what's she been through? Like, is she a doctor? All of these things. And so then Marisa was like, just go look at it. Just go look at it. So I watched all of your IG town halls and I was like, oh, I get what she is saying. So we definitely have to have you on here because Marisa and I bonded because we were both like, we are suffering from postpartum depression. We don't like our children, but we love them, but we don't like them. Motherhood sucks, but it's great. Like we had all these same juxtapositions on motherhood. And so like, just for you saying that, it clarified so much from us. So I want to ask you, you know, what made you decide to speak out on such a controversial topic?
Well, so you know, I'm psychic clairvoyant. I do and give readings for a living. And most of the readings that I give are to mothers, expecting mothers, new mothers, second-time mothers, and predominantly Black mothers. And in conversation with them, in reading them, I've come to a few conclusions. And one of them is that in a lot of cases, the emotions and feeling tones were not in a healthy place before baby, before conception, before motherhood. The support was not there. The resources were not there. The family was not there. The partner may not have been there, whatever the case may be. And women come to me kind of as a last resort or first resort. Sometimes it's a last resort because you know my tone to be very direct. But in a lot of cases, it's a last resort. And people are coming to me in desperation after going to the doctor and going to a therapist and having a negative experience, being diagnosed with postpartum depression. And as we know, that can go many different ways. And unfortunately for Black women, we don't have the privilege of naming our ailments the same way as white women do. And so I realized that a lot of these women were dealing with CPS, they were dealing with custody issues, they were dealing with all type of things that they didn't ask for when they really were just wanting support and asking for help, because this is coming from a woman of color. So I thought, you know, what we need to do is really diagnose and get to the root of the issue. And the root of the issue for most women is lack of preparedness, lack of support, having difficulty adjusting to the biological changes. And that's it. And when we can clarify that, we can begin to heal that. But when we don't, the postpartum depression turns into depression, and then turns into your disposition. And I just wanted to bring this conversation to the forefront. And the thing is I talk about it all the time, but the response kind of roars in a different way every time because my followers have grown. So this time it just reverberated into the atmosphere differently because I've never had this many followers before. So I think that's probably why it just went the way it went. But that's my feeling behind it.
That's awesome that you say that. Like, so there's one that I remember watching it, and one of the girls on there was like, well, what's wrong with just calling it postpartum depression as the umbrella, right? Like let's say all the things that you said, which is I'm not supported, I don't have help, I'm tired, I wasn't prepared for this, I don't like my body. Why can't postpartum depression be the umbrella, and then all those things are underneath it?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we say that? What's your response to that?
Well, I ask, why are we claiming disease?
Right.
Why are we claiming that? Why are we claiming this energy? Why are we identifying with this energy instead of identifying with all the things that fall under the umbrella?
And I can answer that. It's because we don't want to deal and unpack the root of our issues, right? As soon as I heard it, I started thinking about my first child, and they said I had postpartum anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And so after I was listening to the lives, and I've been thinking about this a lot, I was like, okay, the moment she came into this world, I was nervous. I was always nervous. With both my kids, I don't leave the house without Terrell, right? And that trickles into other areas of why you need me for everything. Like, why are you being needy, and why are you doing this? Like, it trickles into a million different things. But as I was thinking over this past weekend, I was molested as a little kid by my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a baby. And the moment my babies came into this world, that's all I thought about. How can anybody touching them? I don't like any men touching them. I don't like just their dad, barely even my brother. Right. Like, and that anxiety of that, and knowing that someone can possibly hurt my baby because they hurt me. And I never have thought about this correlation until this past week. And it was like, oh, that's where this comes from, right? Like this anxiety of someone harming my child. And it was with Halo, my first baby. When I tell you, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't leave her alone, like anything. I couldn't even leave the house, literally, unless my spouse was with me. And that's the only time I felt comfortable, if he was like protecting me. And then that could go into a whole other issue of daddy issues. And like, it could just keep going. And that's what I don't think people want to deal with. And for any of the viewers that know me, like, I can't keep things in. Otherwise it eats me inside. So the moment I see freedom, the moment I see there's a way out, oh, I'm running out. Like, oh, this is all I got to do to get, like, this is all I got to do.
Right.
So people don't want to accept that their pain comes from somewhere, and they don't want to accept it, and that's where I think it comes from. I think that's why we can't just put it all under an umbrella, because for 3 years, I had no idea what was going on with me. I had no idea why I get scared of getting pregnant again. Right. Oh, no, I'm not getting pregnant. Oh, no. I know, because I don't want, I know what it comes with, all this like mental that I suffer from when this baby comes.
And so we're out of control.
Me. Right.
How is that, Imani? I want to ask you this because you do, have a lot of readings with these women. How does that affect you? Like, because I would assume, you have some kind of feeling as you're going through this. What is that process like for you? Because I'm sure you're feeling all of their pain and all of the shame, sadness. Like, how do you deal with that?
I journal and then I let it go. I journal and I let it go. Luckily, I don't have the best memory. I talk to so many people. I don't have the best memory, so kind of just like flows out, and I have a full life outside of this work, so I'm able to go into another energy. But I'm working on a book, so I've been journaling about these experiences. Every time I do a reading, I feel like I'm reading myself as well. So there's always something for me to learn. So I journal and leave it on the paper and let it go.
That's big. That's good. Because I was like, this got to be some heavy work, dealing with.
It is heavy. It is heavy. And I didn't always, I wasn't always doing that. I was internalizing everything. And that was a whole thing in itself. But journaling has been really helpful, a really great exercise for me. And I just write it down, leave it down, and let it go.
That's what you got to do. That's good.
Yeah.
Wait, so I want to ask you this too. What do you say to the people who are like, postpartum depression is a clinical diagnosis? How can you say it doesn't exist? You're not a doctor. Or if they say, hey, you're not a mom, so how would you know what it feels like to have this?
Well, I didn't say that it doesn't exist. I said I don't necessarily believe in it. Just like I don't necessarily believe in anxiety. Just like I don't necessarily believe in depression. I feel like when we have depression, I like to diagnose everything spiritually. So I feel like when we are depressed, we feel like we don't have control. We feel like we don't have options. When we are anxious, we have difficulty trusting. We're struggling with our faith. Again, control. And so when you start thinking about this, I always tell people, as long as you have breath, you have options. When we start thinking about these things and breaking them down and taking our power back, I feel like we can move past these diagnoses of dis-ease, which we know don't work well for people of color. We cannot operate under the same diagnoses, unfortunately, in society. And as far as motherhood, baby, I feel very much like a mother.
I mean, you out here, you're giving all types of advice like a mom. So for real, like you care about what happens to these people. That's mothering.
Yeah.
I think too, Megan, I think we have a responsibility as well, because we did start this podcast in the light of being depressed or saying, we have postpartum, and like, what do you, and I'm sorry, I'm asking Megan a question, but it's like, well, how do you feel like hearing this based on your experiences throughout this years? Because people have followed us through this journey, right, of motherhood. Right. And after hearing Imani say these things, it's like, what do you?
I'll be honest. I think Imani is 100% correct. Imani, like seriously, after I watched what you were saying, I was like, oh, what happened?
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Yes.
My husband just left the den. Girl, they don't listen. They don't listen. Okay. I'm like, I am busy right now. Why is it calling me? Anyway,
he got to check on his boo. He got to check on his baby.
He just left the dentist's office and probably working with more than he thought he was. Okay.
We got to keep their teeth right.
Right.
Okay. All right, I'm here.
Go ahead, Megan.
No, so I will say, I agree with what you were saying 100%, Imani. Like, when I sat down and thought about what my experience was like when I first had my son, I was 33 at the time. I had no man. I had not had no baby. I had been living on my own, doing my own thing for 33 years. And then I added a man, and 7 months later I got pregnant. And so within a year and a half, I had added 2 people to my life permanently. Right. Because now I'm like attached to them. And so I had a whole identity shift. I was like, now I got this that is attached to me. And on top of that, I didn't have those beautiful butterflies and tears flowing when they laid them on my chest. I was in awe of my son. I was just like, wow, like you the little person have been kicking me this whole time. But it wasn't what you see in the movies. So then I thought something was wrong with me. Like, how come I don't love this little baby? Like, why am I not doing that? And it honestly was because I didn't know him. Like, hi, like we're meeting, like we're getting to know each other. And I loved my son. I just didn't know, I didn't have that bond with him. And no one ever told me it's okay. And it can take you some time. It can take you some years to feel
Yes.
that with your child. Because if you say that, then you're a bad mom, right? If you're looking at your son and like, I don't really
around that. Yes.
I don't really, he's cool. Like I love him and I'm gonna protect him with my all, but like I don't really have these like googly eyes. I don't know. So, just not being able to say that was just like so restricting. And, having these feelings and then me and my fiance dealing with the shame of, I grew up a Southern Baptist country girl. You supposed to be married before you have a baby. Here I am, 33, having a baby out of wedlock. Like there was a lot of shame that clouded things for me and just made me feel terrible. And I thought I had gotten through it. But once I had the baby, it was like, oh, I'm not through this. And, it was easier for me and Marisa to just be like, we're so depressed. We have postpartum depression. And oh gosh, like, and we even were like, one of our friends had something similar. It was really bad. And we were just like, we should have gone to like we remember we were talking about the hospital. We were like, we should have gone to a psychiatric hospital. It would have been like a vacation. Like that's what we were talking about.
I remember that.
Remember, we was like, oh my, that sounds so great to go to a psychiatric hospital.
Yes, I remember that.
So I think it's really important that you said stuff like that. The one thing I want to ask you, what do people do? What should they do? Instead of going, I have postpartum depression, what should they do?
Well, I just want to hit real quick on what you just said, because I don't think that there's a lot of outlets. I love what you guys are doing and the premise of your conversation, because there's so much shame around not knowing. I think that people just think that the maternal instinct is supposed to click automatically and you're just supposed to know, you're just supposed to balance it all. You're supposed to internalize whatever feelings like your mother did or like your grandmother did and move forward with it. And the reality is absolutely what you said. The connection is not automatic. You're going through a complete re-identification process. In addition to that, you're trusting someone, your partner, like you've never trusted them before. This is a completely new space of vulnerability. So there's a lot of things to adjust to, and there's a lot of things to unpack. And I think, especially as Black women, there's really absolutely no place to have these conversations and have these conversations safely.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I would suggest is having a sister circle. Finding your tribe. Finding your tribe. It's very, very important. I don't think that mothers can do it by themselves. I think that we have gotten away from, as a collective, the community aspect and the tribe aspect that's so necessary to raise a child. We are by ourselves. We're doing it by ourselves. We're internalizing all of these emotions by ourselves. And we could see it's not working.
That's true.
Right. And sometimes I wonder, I know the answer to this, but sometimes I wonder why us as a people like don't want to open our eyes to alternatives, right? Because it's like, if it's not working, if you keep doing the same thing, what is that? That's insanity. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so why don't we want to be open to trying something else? And then you said something about it takes a village, and I didn't expect, and maybe you said it, maybe someone in your life said it. It's like the father's family, right? You guys are all supposed to be one. You guys are all supposed to be connected. And in my situation, it was like, he has no real relationship with his family. There's a few people he's close with. And then if you're not around those people, and then you expect me and my new baby to be around those people, what type of anxiety is that for me? Right. Yeah. And then on my mom's side, it's like, okay, well, I thought you're supposed to be here all the time. I thought you're supposed to like really be up in here, like get your hands up here. Wait, you're leaving? Like, I just had the baby. Wait, you okay? It's not this like fairy tale thing in your head where these families are together and everyone's helping out. It's literally just me and Terrell most of the time, 95% of the time.
Right.
And I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I did not put that into perspective. And I didn't think about, oh, okay, well, he doesn't have this strong relationship with his family. When they come, why am I so, and that would give me, why I'm all up on them. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. But he set the tone, right? It wasn't me, but I thought I was just being this overbearing, psychopathic woman who didn't want to, but that's how they make you feel, right? Like that's that, but it was really the trust between them I wasn't confident in that. Now I understand that, but I didn't understand that then, you know, and I'm just trying to make it work, like trying to make it work. And that's hard. That's hard. But someone said that, it was like, you got to think about their relationship and their family and bringing their issues and their problems into your life. And now it's a part of you. And that's a whole different thing that I was not prepared for.
Right.
At all.
And then your body changes. Okay. Your vagina is not the same. And your stomach look different. You gain. So there's just a lot. I don't think people want to talk about, you know, because then here's the thing. If I, instead of, like Imani says, if I address the issue, if I tell you how poor of a self-image that I have, you know, then that requires me to do something about it. Then that requires me to go say, hey, I need to find a woman's physical therapist to, I don't know, figure out why I'm having uterine prolapse. Why, like, what can I do to fix peeing every time I laugh, or why, like, nobody wants, that's not sexy. That's not cute to admit that that's what's wrong with me, or that, like, now I might have this pooch hangover forever. That's not fun. So it's easier for me to say, like, I have postpartum depression, give me some Zoloft or whatever. Make it good for a moment. Imani, do you feel like it's worse, like, for Black women when it comes to trying to heal?
Absolutely.
It's worse for everything.
Everything is worse.
Right. Everything's worse. Look at what?
Yes. And that's why I say, and might offend some people, get the white man out of your head. That's what's really fucking us up. Excuse my French.
Hey, say that again.
That's what got us very confused.
Yeah.
Because biologically, we can handle more.
Yeah.
We got to get out of this defeatist energy. And I think that we all are subconsciously suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome. And that has a lot to do with our family dynamics and why we don't trust our uncle, and why we don't trust our cousins, and why we don't trust, you know, granny to watch the baby, et cetera, is our family structure has been dismantled. Black men, you know, have a very difficult time navigating this conversation of neglect and abandonment and abuse within their family. And so oftentimes they look to their wife or girlfriend or baby mama, whatever your situation is, for refuge. And so she's holding on to all of that. And oftentimes it's her family that has to hold the family up. And you don't know, you know, maybe because her family is a little bit better doesn't mean that they're healed, you know. So there's all of those things. Maybe I lost the question. What was the original question?
You were just going on about how like we got to get the white man out of our head. And
we got to get the white man. Yeah. So white women can do therapy. They can call themselves postpartum, have postpartum depression and still be respected. You know, we're just coming to a space, I think very recently, to where you can say, I'm dealing with postpartum depression, and the Black family will back off and say, okay, well, this is how I can help you, which I think is a problem. Why can't I say I'm tired? I feel unsupported. I want to take a shower. My body ain't what it used to be heard. Why do we have to use these extreme classification in order to get help and to get resource? That was really the premise of the conversation. That's what it started to boil down to. in the live conversations with the woman is that I can't say I'm tired. Right. I'm exhausted. I haven't taken a shower. I haven't combed my hair. I haven't had a day to get my nails done. I haven't been able to take care of my feminine. You know, but when these women say I'm suffering from postpartum depression, all of a sudden, okay, well, let me see, what can I do? Can I drop a meal off? Can I do? And it's, why do we have to go to such extremes?
Right. Because you know why, Imani? Because we judge them. Because before I was
but how can we don't judge the white woman though?
Right. Why don't we judge the white women? Why don't we do that? I think it's because in our heads we always thought that it was okay for them to have nannies and for them, for them to live these lavish lives where they had help, hired help. Whereas for Black people, we look at that like, either we can't afford it or we just don't think it's acceptable. Only people who are lazy get that, right? Like you think about, I remember before I had my son, my friend, she worked for this very rich Black family. And they had 2 kids, but they had a chef, they had a nanny, they had a tutor, they had all of that. And the mom didn't work. And I remember saying to her, I was like, yo, boss don't work. Why she need all those people there? She can't do it herself. Like, what's wrong with her? And then it wasn't until I became a mother that I was like, oh, that's why she needed all that help. Because she wasn't trying to go crazy and lose her mind doing all this. But here I am judging her. So of course, I feel like I'm going to be judged if I try to ask for help or reach out for help. So it's like, okay, well, let me just act like I got it all together. I'll just figure it out. And meanwhile, I'm crying, my baby crying. I'm crying with my baby. Like I'm just a mess behind closed doors. We don't have to do that, but we think that we do. Mm-hmm. And that was just
we don't have to do that.
Right.
And if we could support one another from a genuine space, we wouldn't have to do that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But we're very nasty. We're very condescending. We're very judgmental. Y'all read the comments.
Oh, yeah.
We're very judgmental. We're very condescending. We're very bitter. We're very angry. We have extreme trust issues. And so we don't really even have the resources in place to say, I'm tired. Can somebody help me? Right. Because we don't have that solid foundation. All we can really do is say, I have postpartum depression and hope for some pills to help me sleep, hope for a psychiatric hold, hope for an appointed therapist, hope for, a medical leave, etc. Because we don't have the resources and the foundation and the village in our own community. And so we got to rely on theirs. Hello.
Yep.
And theirs is not for us.
Nope, it's not.
Never has been. And 2, even for like me, I have a house cleaner. I got a lot of things. I'm married. I'm married. We bought a house. We had all these things. And yet I'm coming from that perspective, right? But the thing that I was struggling with is my identity in being like this entrepreneur, this person who is connected, who has a 6-figure job. And all I can think about is getting back to that, right? Mm-hmm. And so then even when I gave birth to my second child, it was like, oh, if I'm not working and I'm not providing in that space, then what am I good for? So I'm going to get up, I'm going to clean the house, I'm going to cook, I'm going to get up with the baby, even though I'm tired. I'm not going to ask him. And mind you, my husband's not even like that. My husband doesn't care if I work. He don't care if I do work. He don't care. He has more than enough to take care of us. But it's my own identity of, oh, I got to get back to what I was. And so I'm going to slave and do all these things and nobody's asking me to do these things, mind you. It's in my own head of like, I gotta be all these things to make up because I'm not bringing in all this money like I used to. And I dealt with that with both pregnancy. I started my business. I signed the lease 2 weeks after I pushed out my first baby and then got straight to work building out my co-working space. Mm-hmm. And when I go look at those pictures now, after I heard this message, I was like, I was in so much pain. Like I was in physical pain, like could not sit on my butt, vagina bleeding, pain. And I knew I had, and he didn't need me there to sign that lease, but I had to make sure I was there, control, like all these things to make sure that my worth is shown.
That time.
Yeah. And, but because I was so connected to like my work and what I did and that being me. And so I wasn't too much for the second one, but the first one, when I look back at those pictures, I was like, wow, I really pushed through that. But that's not something to be proud of. Like, it's not something to be proud of, that I can do all these things and I just had a baby. Like, no, I want to sleep. I want to rest. You know, I want to take care of my vagina. Like it hurts. Like, it hurts. But the identity thing too, and us being so tied up in what we think is acceptable and what we think, I guess, other people want to see. I don't even know what that is. And just being okay with like just being with your family. Like I only learned that through COVID, I feel like. Oh, it's okay to be with my family and not do shit. That was the first time in my life I was just with my kids and my husband.
Yeah.
And did not answer the phone to do anything. That's it.
Yeah. I think COVID was a blessing and a curse, but I think it was a blessing for people of color because we've never had a break.
Right.
We've never had a time where it was okay to not do shit. And in that time, I think that there's been so much self-discovery and so much healing. And even in my own life, you know, I've lost both of my parents, but both of my parents were workaholics. And it just dawned on me in quarantine that I don't want my life legacy to be about work.
Right.
And I think it's important for women to have this moment with ourselves before we become mothers. And that doesn't mean that you can't be entrepreneurial in motherhood and et cetera, but we have to really think about what do we want our legacy to be? When I'm gone, what do I want my children to say? What do I want my family to say? What do I want the world to say? What kind of impact do I want to leave? And we focus so much on serving other people. Again, post-traumatic slave syndrome. We focus so much on serving other people and not enough energy serving ourselves. Do we feel guilty about this? But I've come to a space, I'm on a sabbatical. I'm not doing readings. I've never taken this much time off. I'm on my third month. I've never taken this much time off. And in this time, I've been able to, because I put in the time when I didn't have to. That's another thing is that's where the lack of preparedness comes. Is we don't have the proper financial foundation set for us to take this time to really unbecome and rest and explore ourselves. But because I was focused in that time, I am, which I think a lot of mothers have to do. I feel like oftentimes, and I see this all the time in my readings, is women don't get into entrepreneurial gear until the baby comes. It's like it doesn't really get serious until the baby and the husband comes. Yeah. And I urge women to really take that time before mommyhood and before we become wives and whatever, to really invest in yourself and be at peace and pleased with yourself as an individual outside of those roles. So that when you get into the role, you can embrace it. Yeah. And you're not rushing off. And some women may feel some type of way about this, but I have an issue with how we rush into the mommy makeover and we rush into this snapback conversation and we're rushing back into work, and I'm posting our flat stomachs 2 weeks postpartum, and all of this immense pressure that we put on women and we put on ourselves because we're not comfortable in the new role.
Yeah. Yeah. We just
wait,
talked about
wait,
that.
Imani, you telling me I can't get my lipo?
Please. We'll have another segment about that. Okay.
What you mean? I just want to transfer my fat. I ate the Oreos.
I want to have another segment on that because, this year, now I will say, I journal and do all of the things, but I have been very saddened by the women who've lost their lives this year.
That is true.
Behind surgery and have left these children on their own.
Yeah. Now that's the realest statement.
Whew.
It's not worth it. It's not worth
Y'all
it.
don't even want to know all the conversations my neighbors have been having with me.
It's not worth it. And the thing about it is, baby, your man might like that little extra.
He does. He really does. He really does.
I will say that.
Really
Imani, it's it's so interesting that you say that because as far as when I think about what you're saying, there's a lot of broken people that are now making broken people because they never healed before they had their children. And I would even say that's probably the majority of parents is like 95%.
Or I wouldn't say not necessarily that they healed. They haven't identified themselves.
There you go. So what do you tell women who are now having children or pregnant or have had kids, but they haven't even addressed anything that needs healing? What do you say to them to actually start the journey?
But ask them, who are you? Who are you? And who were you before you became a mom? And baby, a lot of people hesitate.
Right.
They take a moment. They and you could see their wheels spinning, trying to answer instead of really meditating on the question, who am I? Are you proud of your accomplishments? So I think that a lot of times, because women haven't identified themselves, the identification process begins at the rebirth, which is when they have their child.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you become resentful of the role.
Because you don't know all that it comes with. And you don't
right. And the sacrifice that it comes with.
Yeah.
And and so I would say, who are you and who were you? And then who do you want to become? Those are the three questions. And it usually stumps people. And that's when the tears start rolling in. And, I've been in therapy for 3 years. I never got to this. Yes.
Who, child? I'm over here trying to answer them questions. I'm like, I don't know who I want to become. I don't know. I'm over here trying to answer it myself. That's serious. That's deep. Because then you end up, if you don't answer that, then you end up projecting your issues onto your child. And now the cycle continues.
And so that's why I said, if you are dealing with postpartum depression, what is your kid dealing with?
Right.
If you're anxious, what is your kid feeling? If you're unconfident in the role, what is your child's feeling? If you don't feel prepared, what is your child's feeling? If you feel emotionally neglected, what is your child's feeling?
Right.
Right. And see, and when I said I felt excited when I heard that live that day, it was because I was able to identify. It doesn't mean I'm healed, right? But I was able to identify everything that was making me feel X, Y, and Z. And my kids were in the back. I was dropping them off at daycare. And I even saw them in a new light. Like the past 2 weeks, I can't even explain it. The way I've been looking at my kids, for who they are. And I'm so thankful that these kids are just happy and confident, more than I had ever been as a child. But I saw them in this different light. It was like, oh, you guys are here to be with me. You guys are here to hang out with me. You guys are here to be my teacher, right? Like they teach me so much. They teach me so much if I let them teach me, right?
Hello.
But and these past 2 weeks, I've been able to watch them in these new eyes, like, damn, like almost with the older one, like, damn, it took me 3 years to like see you like this. Yeah. Like she's like a grown woman. She's like 45 years old in a 3-year-old body. I promise you, this kid is like, she's different. And the youngest one, she has this soft, sweet soul. And she comes to me at times where like, I know that I'm unsure or I'm dealing with a lot. She always comes to me and just lays, she's the sweetest soul. But I'm seeing them in this new light. And I told her, I was like, this makes me want to do it again and do it right. Like literally, but it's that freedom. And no, I'm not healed. I haven't dealt with all these things, but it's
you're healing.
Healing.
You're
right?
healing.
Healing.
And
it makes me sad though. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It makes me sad in other areas too, you know, when I see her, because I serve the community in the sense, right? And it makes me sad when I see people just shut things down so quickly without taking the time to like listen or just listen, just listen, because I don't want you to be stuck, right? I don't want you to feel this way. I don't want you to have to keep dealing with this, especially if someone's already dealt with it and you don't have to, right? You know, and so I receive what you said, because being able to be free is like, there's no other feeling, right? There's no other feeling.
Yes. And we can free ourselves.
Right. That's the thing.
Right. You know, we can free ourselves. We don't have to hire someone or sit in a doctor's office or go on a vacation or do anything. We can literally free ourselves.
How do you do that?
Be honest with yourself. I'm fucking tired.
That's real.
I don't like you.
You may say I'm dealing with postpartum
I don't like
depression.
you.
Yeah, I don't like you. My kid is fucking annoying right now.
Right.
That's real.
Right.
You're always hungry. Damn, we just ate and you're not even going to eat all of this food. I'm irritated. Be honest.
Yeah.
But we keep on just packing it in. And I feel like we all are dealing with a little bit of insanity.
Yeah. Getting crazy. Yeah.
That's why we keep doing the same shit.
Right.
Yeah. And we always feel like we have to make things work. Like we're gonna make this work. We have to make this work. Like this has to work this way. It has to be this way.
Yeah.
It's that's the crazy part.
Right.
That's the crazy part. And I always tell Terrell, like, look, if we don't work, all this shit is going to come down. Right? Like we can't have the businesses, we can't be serving people, we can't have a family, we can't do all this if me and you individually don't work. Yeah. And that's a constant thing I have been saying for years. And so it's a constant growth, especially if you're with somebody. Like individually, if we don't work, what are we doing? I will walk away, right? I will walk away. And I'm okay with that because I know what I don't want to be. You know, I know what I don't want to. I mean, we have those examples. We all should have those examples of what we don't want to be.
Right.
So it's a constant like check-in with yourself and your situation. I feel like, and it makes me really mad when I see those comments. This was the first time I was actually responding to people. I've never responded to people over the years when I see things about you, but this one, it was just like, y'all. Right. We've been in the house for a whole year.
A whole year, and we didn't do no self-reflection.
Right.
Nothing? We in the same situation?
I That is
but as much negativity, there was positivity and there was connectivity, and people were able to vent and release and re-identify themselves and start really beginning the healing process. What I'm very concerned about, though, is these women that are calling themselves doulas and birth workers and dismissing the root cause of our pain because it does not equate a paycheck.
Girl,
and so for me, for me, that was very disturbing. I had a lot of women tell me that because they agreed, about 5 women told me that because they agreed with me publicly, they were disassociated from whatever doula foundation that they had been accredited with.
What?
And to me, it was disheartening, but also it's very alarming, because that lets me know that we're doing this work for Black women, but we're still accepting white funding.
Yeah.
Okay. And we know how you got to move when you are doing that. That's number one.
Right.
And number two, we know, you guys know that Black women are not safe in the hospital.
Right.
And not just Black women, brown women as well. We are not safe in the hospital. Hospital birth is not really an option anymore. So women are looking to have this doula experience for a holistic experience, for a spiritual experience, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And these women are subscribing still to this Caucasian standard. And these are the women that we're trusting our bodies with. These are the women that we are trusting our children with, our legacy with. And to me, that is a big problem.
It's interesting you say that. I had interviewed a doula when I first got pregnant. And I mean, now when I look back at it, I'm like, okay, I guess I could have paid that. But I was thrown off by the cost, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I could figure out how to pay this. But as a new mom, I'm thinking about, well, I got to buy this. I still got to buy this. I still got to buy her crib. I still got to do this. You're thinking about all these things you have to pay for. And so to me, it wasn't, although I wanted it at the time, I felt like, oh, we can't have that expense right now. And it was a lot of money, and it was a Black woman, and she's great. I know tons of people who have used her, but the price point at that time was just a little too high for me. And so I ended up doing the whole, I trusted too much, I trusted the hospital too much. And I feel like it hurt me, because my second time I came around, I was way more knowledgeable. I brought my own food. Like I did, and I was walking right up after I had her. I was good. I go to the bathroom. I wasn't in pain. Like, I was good. But the first time around, like, I wish I had that support, but I didn't have it. My mom was like completely shocked, completely like froze, didn't know what to do. And I'm looking at her. Luckily, my husband is calm and he's very like precise, and he was talking to the doctor. But if I didn't have him, I feel like I was going to die. And it was just because the doula costs too much money. She costs too much money. The experience.
So does the hospital.
Oh shit! I had a little trick. Well, because Cadillac, there's a lot of Black doctors, and so there was a doctor who was like, "Is she on unemployment?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Okay, fill this paper out."
I want to touch on that too.
For free.
I want to touch on that too, because we are over trusting Black doctors. Sorry to say
it. Say that. That's real. Yeah. No, and you know what? And I will say, I'll speak on that because, obviously we know what the healthcare system is. We know how it affects Black and brown people. I will say I moved to Atlanta 2 years ago, and the one thing I was like, oh, there's a plethora of Black doctors. Like, I got to get me a Black doctor. So Black everything, Black pediatrician, Black dentist, Black everything. And I'm going to tell you right now, half them doctors, I was like, never mind. Where's the white doctor at? I just need somebody that got my back. Okay. Like, seriously, like even my my primary care physician is a white lady. And when I saw her, I was like, ew, no, she got blonde hair. I don't want a white lady. I want like a black, like a sister, fro, everything. And when I went to her, this woman is so knowledgeable and she is so like, and the first thing I said to her, I was like, look, okay, I know the healthcare system is not for people that look like me. And she was like, you are right. And I was like, oh, we here. If you understand that as a white doctor, then okay, then we can work with something because now you're I know that you know what the bias is, right? Like we're working against that. So now you're giving me good information. And it took me black doctors for me to come to this realization, like skin folk ain't skin folk, right?
Hello.
Not everybody for you that just because they look like you. So you got to do research. You got to dig deep.
I will say our doctor out here, because me and Megan had the same doctor. I went to Kaiser for her because she had her own practice and I followed her. And although she may not do the same things for everyone else, she already knew what I was coming in there with. She knew my diet. She knew what I didn't believe in, what I did believe in. And on the side, she'd be like, okay, well, here, go to Whole Foods and get these vitamins actually, because this is probably better for you the way you eat. Like she knew how I got down. And she was like, well, you know, our people ain't going to agree on that, but you're fine. You're fine the way you eat. Because first people were telling me the way I eat was wrong. And like I couldn't eat the way I ate. But she actually supported me. Although she doesn't teach that, she supported me.
She can't.
She can't, right?
White she can't say like everyone be vegan and you know,
right?
Yeah.
But she held my hand through it because she knew there was no one else that was going to tell me otherwise, right? But I know for a fact she don't preach that or whatever. That was the only thing I had going there. Everything else, I mean, I just had a missed call from Kaiser. I don't even think I take my kids to the doctor. Did I get in trouble for that? But it's hard for me to prepare myself for what you're going to tell me is good for my kids, and I'm with them every day.
Yeah,
and I
like, sheesh.
Oh, don't even get me started. I told them, I sent them a message.
Okay, you know they've been dragging me all over the internet lately, you know,
speak on it. No, because I was going to ask you about that too, because I just saw that you
the vagina.
all these women reaching out to you to tell you about like their issues with their period or their, uterus after either getting the COVID shot, or being around people who have had the COVID shot, and the backlash you have received and the false information that Instagram put over your posts.
I mean, if people aren't getting their periods, they're not getting their periods. If they're getting periods more often, they're getting periods more often. I don't understand.
And the crazy part about it is, it's like, you can't sit here. I when I saw this, I started researching and looking at articles, and there's like tons of articles that have come out. And like, there's some bloggers or people saying that, there's no correlation between period issues and the vaccine. Well, I'm saying, well, how do you know that to be true if this is so new? Just like you can't say that they don't know it's true. You also don't know if it's not true. So how about we just open our minds for a second and let's pretend it is true, which is a high possibility that it is. What can we do from that? What can we, and that made me go, oh, wow, there's like, y'all are not interested in the truth. Y'all are interested in what sounds good and what's going to bring more dollars in. Why is that? Why don't you care about the truth? Because clearly, after I saw that article, I kid you not, I saw your post, Imani. I hit up every one of my girl chat groups. My one in Dallas, my homegirls that I grew up with, Marisa, like I hit them all up and I was like, hey, for anybody in these groups who have had the COVID vaccine, have any of y'all had any period issues? And I will tell you about 90% of them have.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
And I was like, only one of my friends was like, no.
And not just periods, abnormal periods, but spontaneous miscarriages.
There you go. And that makes you wonder, like, why? Okay, if there's no correlation, okay, well then why all of a sudden is it happening more? Answer me this. Right. And so, I mean, and it's like, you don't have to believe it. Just go ask the people that you know. Ask the women that you know.
That's it. At this point, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything.
Right.
I'm just here to provide some more information so that you can draw your own conclusions. And for those who've already made their decision, to affirm their decision. But I'm learning how to navigate Instagram better. And what I said was, I was appalled by all of the feedback that I was receiving. And so I opened up my platform, as I always do, for women to share their experiences. So I'm not so sure, or well, I know why, but I think that it's alarming that people's experiences are being flagged as misinformation. That's number one. But the COVID vaccine is, I have my theories on COVID too. But anyway, the COVID vaccine is relatively new technology.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't know the impact. Bottom line.
This is a trial.
We do not.
It's a trial.
Is a trial. Yeah, y'all, baby.
It's a trial.
It's a trial. Technically, it's not approved by the FDA, so it is an experimental treatment. Technically.
Yeah. When I tell you, I was telling Megan, I think I said I would talk about it on another episode. I can't go, and I'm not lying. I cannot go anywhere. I'll go to my kids' dance club. I'm minding my own business. A woman will come up to me. I prayed to God. I told him to give me a sign. I said, if you don't want me to get this shot, give me a sign. The place was closed. And I found somewhere, this woman just talking to me. And I found somewhere else to get it. And I am sick. I can't do it. And I'm sitting there like, do you need help with something? Like, what? And she's just going off about how she's never done drugs. She's never drank alcohol. And she just feels so sick. Everywhere I have gone in the past 2 to 3 weeks, literally, I mind my own business. I be on my phone. I'm not very approachable, I don't think, to come talk to me like that. And people will just start talking to me about how sick they feel from this vaccine. And I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? Like, I offered this one girl, like, do you know how to cleanse it? I'm like, actually, my whole neighborhood always comes to me when they're sick.
Ain't no cleansing. They would ask me that too.
Asking me, can I drop off some herbs at their house? I'm like, look, I'm gonna drop this off. But look, okay, if you continue to eat what you eat, it doesn't matter what this ain't going to help you. Okay. But I'll do it for you because I love you. Mm-hmm. But, I got my own stash. This costs a lot of money. I got to go every week to re-up because I'm giving it away. But I don't know what God wants from me. But I'm just like, why do you keep having these people talk to me about this? And then people who know how I'm going to respond, I'm like, why are you coming to me? And you know how I'm going to respond to you. It makes me crazy.
Fear is a disease.
Yeah.
Fear is a disease. And, people are making their own decisions about the vaccine, whatever. But also, I know you guys are mothers and you're in this industry. And so I'm sure you're aware of the negatives that are associated with vaccinating your child at birth and the vaccination schedule from 1 year old to 10 years old and how that's impacting children's verbal and cognitive and physical skills, et cetera, et cetera. So just because we were vaccinated doesn't mean that should necessarily be an option that we consider now, knowing all that we know 30 plus years later.
Right.
But we are a monkey see, monkey do society, unfortunately. And we've been, our whole lives have been paralyzed by this virus, and people want their life back. People want some normalcy back into their life, and they're willing to do anything to get that.
Yep.
My suggestion, though, is to really investigate. Really investigate. And upon these investigations, I've been finding women who have not even gotten the vaccine experience abnormal periods and miscarriages from simply hugging, having lunch with, sitting on the same couch as, sleeping under the same roof as people who have been vaccinated. To me, that's very alarming. It's not just Black women, it's all women. And I think that we need to take heed to this information that's being presented to us, especially as people who want to be birthing bodies in the future. You know, you need to really think about your fertility and what's happening in our society. I also think that I'm an advocate for holistic health, and I feel that all the cures are in nature. But when you subject yourself to biological warfare, which this is, and DNA mutilation, which this is, you can't expect the things in nature to heal that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to be realistic about what's happening and what we're doing to our bodies and what is being done to our bodies and what we're volunteering ourselves to. But I just would say to women, and it's very hard now because, you know, I'm hearing stories. My boyfriend is vaccinated. My mom's vaccinated. My sister, I'm the only person that's not vaccinated at work. And, you know, again, this is all very new information, but I would just say take everything that you are hearing seriously and make your own conclusions.
Right.
And honestly, some people need to get vaccinated. I do believe in natural selection.
Look,
everybody can go. Okay. I do believe in the mark of the beast. I do believe in God. And not everybody is meant to go. Not everybody is going to make it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is, I think also this is very much spiritual. We're under spiritual attack. And so many people believe in man more than God. And that's a whole nother conversation.
But, I got cussed out for that. So I got cussed out. I got cussed out for bringing up God. I thought we're only supposed to fear God. Cussed out. Smooth cussed out.
The same grandmas, okay?
The same one. Oh, Lord.
The same grandmas. So, you know, what a time to be alive. But just use Google while it's free. That's what I would suggest. Use Google while it's free. Use your intuition. Pay attention to what is coming out. Unfortunately, I feel that my page is heavily censored because the collective that I serve is women of color.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But yeah, this information is been circulated in the white conscious collectives for months.
Right. Oh yeah, they're out there if you want to pay attention.
Yeah, they've been talking about this for, if you look at the timestamp, they've been talking about this for quite a while. But for some reason, our black asses is just catching on. I don't know, but anyway,
because they'll associate them with Trump. They'll associate them with being a Republican.
They'll associate them with all of the things.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Don't even get me started.
Before, you know what, this is such an interesting, great conversation with you, Imani. I do have to ask, how do you know that you were psychic clairvoyant? Like, was there an experience, or did something happen, or did
I've always known? But it wasn't affirmed because my family, they were afraid, you know, and afraid of opinions, afraid of, you know, all the things.
Right.
And it really wasn't until both of my parents passed, really wasn't until my father passed, that I started to have a lot of experiences. And it got to the point where I could not do anything but this. And so I just stood in it for once without fear. And here I am.
When you, I have to ask, when you meet somebody, do you just like see something, or is it like
Megan's been afraid? Megan's been afraid. I hope she
don't I did say that. I was like, wait, can she see me? Can she see me?
That's another thing, and is when people say you don't know me and you don't know, I'm like, well, sis, I know a few things. I don't put it all out there.
I'm so intrigued by this. Like, do you hear something? Do you see something? Like,
I hear it. I see it. I see apparitions. I have visions. The whole thing.
wait, like,
Sometimes too much.
wow, that is so heavy. How you, because you've seen.
But I don't have a good memory. Thanks to God. Praise God. I don't have a good memory, so it flows away over time. You know, some things. You know, I've had some experiences that have been very, very odd and scary, and those things. You know, but for the most part, I let you know. But one thing I will say is a lot of people lie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people lie. A lot of people are lying to themselves.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. It's one thing to be a liar. It's another thing to lie to yourselves. And I think that a lot of people lie to themselves and begin to believe their lies. And this is what inhibits people from wholeness and fulfillment and joy and really knowing God like we should.
Like we should, and not like we were taught.
Not like we were taught, like we should.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But you know, there's some people I think that have similar gifts and they just like spout out what they know, or I had a bit, you know, you might have had an experience where someone will walk up to you and say, oh, I've had the vision for you, or I've had this, and I think that's completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have insights about people and it's not for them, it's for me.
And that's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Megan's
I
like,
want
hold
this
on,
gift,
what's going on?
Right. I'm looking at
Megan's
Megan's
like,
face. I'm like this.
I want this gift because there's a couple people I would like to read. Okay.
You can though. Everybody is gifted in this way. We just give people oftentimes the benefit of the doubt. But you be knowing.
You be knowing. Megan be knowing.
We be knowing.
And what the Bible say, you ask for the gift of prophecy, the Lord will actually give it to you.
Baby, the Lord will give it to you. The Lord will give you, baby, the Lord will give it.
Yes.
Yes.
Look,
All right.
I'm waiting for Megan's reading. I'm like this.
No, girl, don't read. Hide. Imani, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, I gotta go.
And that's our time.
Wait, you did want to ask about that couple.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. So on your
couple.
live when we were watching about
the white couple.
Yes, the white couple, Steven and whatever her name is. Did you ever like end up talking to them?
Baby. I think as people of color, we needed to see that. Okay.
I was afraid. I was like, I gotta get up out of here.
That healed some people, baby. It's not your situation. You might not have postpartum depression. It's not what the hell you thought it was. It's the people going through some very serious things.
Like I ain't never
some shit. That wasn't some things. That was a whole.
That was an episode,
you said, Steven, you don't have no black friends, do you? You were like, let me be your black friend and tell you the truth. I was cracking up, Imani. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we pray for them.
With that,
we go keep them in prayer. But you know, sometimes the Lord shows us. That's why I love the lives. The live town halls are amazing because we maybe when we call on God, God will show up and show you.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
That was unexpected. I was like, wait, what happened to the moms? It's like, wait, what is this?
But it's a lot of men, and obviously men impact our feeling tone.
Oh, most definitely.
And so some women need to be honest, is you're not really dealing, you're dealing with some emotional trauma in correlation to your partner.
Mm-hmm.
That's very much. And I think that's a lot of what the postpartum energy is Women feel shame about their partner. They feel shame about the baby daddy. They feel shame like, damn, I didn't give you this gift and you still acting a fool. And I knew better. And instead of holding you accountable, I'm about to shame myself. And I'm gonna keep this shame to myself because I don't want to be embarrassed.
That's deep.
Now, are you dealing with postpartum depression, or are you dealing with the consequences of your actions?
Yeah.
One, you could get healing for. Another, you could get a pill for.
Oh, put that on a t-shirt.
Right.
Put that on a t-shirt.
You know, that's why we got to have these conversations. That's why it's good to have a good sister friend that's honest and transparent with you, because we would make our lives worse not being honest with ourselves.
Chad, I can't even do nothing with this except for be like, look, Imani is the truth, y'all, okay? And she will tell you what you don't want to hear, but it's the truth, and you need to hear it. Imani, what's next for you? What do you have coming up?
I'm taking my time. I might, be a bird watcher. I don't know. I'm just, Instagram is stressful. I don't know. I might do some pottery. Who knows? I'm just exploring my life.
There you go.
Yeah.
She said a bird watcher.
Right.
Actually, you know what? That is very childlike because my daughter watches birds.
Yeah. I'm getting into my inner child.
Yes. Yes.
Playing out in the garden. I just got a home. I'm getting into interior decorating. I'm just living my life. Whatever I want to do is what I'm going to do, girl.
And see, when you're free, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all.
You can do that.
That is good. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. This is exciting. I'm excited. And I'm as happy to see you. I've not seen you.
It has been quite a while. Yeah.
Our cousins are going to be floored with their wigs are going to fall on the floor.
Look at that.
All right. So before we get out of here, we got one last segment. What is it, Marisa?
Oh, I forgot we even had segments. And it's funny because when we're talking about shame, one of our segments is called Ain't No Shame, but we skipped it today. So our last segment is called I'm Fine. It's a segment where we like to leave you with a little inspiration because we know you're not fine. And I took this from the one and only Hood Healer. Do a meditation today. Say an affirmation today. Play some good music today. Eat a great meal today. Get dressed today. Give someone a compliment today. Don't let anything or anybody steal your joy today. Have an even better night and do the same thing tomorrow. And I thought that was so fitting for this time. I read that this morning and I was like, well, damn, let me get dressed. Let me put on some makeup.
Looking very cute. Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, I think I just wish for everyone to just approach things with an open heart, an open mind. And like I said, no one's here to hurt you. The people that are out there trying to hurt you, I mean, they're disguised. Okay. They doing all this stuff. Okay.
Yep.
So just be open. And that's all I really ask for women who are listening to this, men who are listening to this, because y'all need a lot of help too.
And
truly
all love.
Right. That's it. So I just wanted to leave you with that today.
Well, thank y'all so much for joining us that are listening or watching this. We thank you for taking a break with us once again. And please join us next week because we always have great guests here. Imani, before you get out of here, where can people reach out to you or follow you?
Like, I don't want y'all reaching out to me, first of all. Okay?
I am on you can find me on Instagram, The Hood Healer. You can follow me on Twitter at your own risk, The Hood Healer as well. Just Google The Hood Healer, baby. You gonna find me.
Yes, there you go. And I'm Megan Thomas.
You might see me at the park bird watching.
Bird watching.
At the nearest park near you.
Yes. Okay, I'm Megan Thomas at Meg Scoop everywhere. For exclusive footage giveaways, y'all be sure to click our Patreon link and become a patron.
Yes, and I'm Marisa Johnson. She is Marisa J. Make sure to follow Mama Needs a Break on all platforms, and we will see you next week.
Bye.